Good evening, everyone, and welcome to episode number 28 of Dream Career Talk Show. Here on this show, we are going to have industry experts from various domains who will be sharing their knowledge, their experiences, their challenges, their failures, and success so that it can help others. This show is going to help corporate professionals expand their context, get clarity, direction, hope, inspiration, and of course, the right steps to build their dream career and dream life. Today on our talk show, we'll be discussing on how to take charge of your career and win. Many a times, we see ourselves as victims of change, and this puts things in control of the circumstances. We know that change is the only thing that is permanent, but when we are not ready to adapt, to accept the change, we fail. Is it good to react or analyze the situation and take appropriate action? What if we are able to accept the change and work to make things happen? To discuss more on how do we become the creator of circumstances and make things happen for us, we have our today's guest, Purav Bhatt, who is a career coach, a mentor, and an entrepreneur. He has done his master's in marketing and business strategy and comes with 15 plus years of experience in the industry in the same field. He's the founder of Career Architect and also the author of the book Campus to Corporate and Beyond. Purav, welcome to the Dream Career Show. Very excited to have you here today.
Thank you so much, Fatah. It's my pleasure to be here on your talk show. And trust me, I have been following your talk show since almost a month now. And it has always been fantastic to listen to the guests and even to listen to you, Fatah. So yes, over to you, Fatah. I'm happy to be here and let's continue.
Thank you, Purav. And since we have been connected for quite some time now, and I know your story is very inspiring, the way you have become the creator of your own circumstances, because you did go through a lot of challenges in your life, but you took charge of your life and also your career. So let's understand more from your career point of view. Like, how did you get started in your career, and what took to you to reach to this place wherever you are today?
Yes, Fatah. I would say it is not a story which is very different from others. Okay. We all start our careers in a very reactive mode. We are
Hmm.
all programmed since childhood and we all follow the same path like what others have been following. We start from the school and then usually it is engineering or medical.
Right.
And when I say this, I am not talking of something which is too old. 20 years ago, this was the case. And when I talk to my mentees today, even today, this is the case. Things are not changing. So,
Hmm.
in a very reactive mode, I continued my career journey. I did my mechanical engineering, followed by masters in marketing. And why I did that? Everybody else was doing it. And that's where I followed them. And after my masters in marketing, I started searching for opportunities. And you know what I did? With two certificates with me, I narrowed down on the opportunities. I am a mechanical engineer. I am a master's in marketing. So, मुझे कौन सी job ढूंढनी चाहिए? Engineering company and a sales job. So I was too narrow in my vision to take up a job, and I got into a technical marketing job, and I was very happy because it served the purpose of my being a mechanical engineer and I being a master's in marketing. So I was happy with that. I continued my job, but over a period of time, I realized that I am in a reactive mode. I am running.
Hmm.
I'm running after the increments, after the promotions, which are an outcome of my weekly targets, monthly targets, yearly targets. That was the story. And after 10 long years, I realized that something is wrong. Because even after this so-called good qualification, I was not in control of my journey. I should
Hmm.
take charge of my journey. There has to be some certainty about my future. It cannot always be so uncertain. And that's where I started taking charge of my career. And that's where my journey started, Fatah. I realized that I have to be different. I have to take some calculated risks so that I have more predictable future.
Hmm.
Yeah, Fatah, that's it.
Interesting. So this is more like a typical scenario for most of us. I think Milind is also talking about the same, right, in the job. And yeah, Imran says change is the key, and he's also shared one of his article on change. Now here, that's your career, but I know your personal life, right? At a very young age, you went through challenges, and since our talk show today is not only focusing on career as in career, but also since career is related to life, you took charge of your circumstances. Do you want to share about the circumstances you faced in your life, the challenge that you went through in a very young age, and how did you overcome that?
Yes, Fatah. So I was 11 years old, and yeah, I went through some situations. We had a car accident, but let me go back a still a few more years. My father was a civil engineer, and in 1992 we got our first second-hand car, and it was
Hmm.
a moment of pride for me and my brother. My brother is 3 years elder to me, and we were so excited about the car, about the new thing that we had in our family. And one day we went on a long drive in the car, and while we were returning from our native place, we met with a car accident, and this
Hmm.
was the biggest tragedy of my life, the turning point in my life. For 2 months, I was in a hospital, and I had severe injuries. Fortunately, my brother was safe,
Hmm.
but for 2 months, I did not know what had actually happened. When I returned home after 2 months, the truth struck me. I had lost my parents in the accident. And it was this moment when I realized that life is really uncertain. And as a child, accepting the truth was very difficult for me. And I was as I said, I was 11 years. And those were the times when I could not take the reality. I could not take it. But gradually I realized that at the end of the day, I have to be part of the society. I have to survive here. And the only thing for me to prove to the world was my grades and certificates. The most unfortunate part of our life, we are always judged or gauged based on the certificates that we have
Hmm.
or the mark sheets. And
Right.
since then, I had been running after scoring good marks to prove myself to the world. And it was all a race. It was all something which was never ending. So that was a time where I could not take charge of my life. I could not take control of what is happening around, because everybody was doing it. Everybody was in the same journey. But this incident taught me a lot. It gave me a lot of courage. It gave me strength to take anything, any failure that comes. But it did not taught me that how to then take control over it. I was still reacting. I was still
Hmm.
reacting in such scenarios. I was able to handle failures, but I was not able to overcome the failures fast. And this is
Mm.
something which I learned in the last 5 years, how to overcome failures faster. And that is how I define success for myself. Success is not achieving something, but it is how fast you come out of a failure or a tragedy.
Right. Yeah, I know it's not easy at that age when you are going through such big challenge like staying in hospital for 2 months, coming back to see that your parents are no more, right? But I'm sure like you had collected a lot of courage. But you said about how you were running behind certifications, behind degrees, so that you wanted to prove to the world. Here, do you think if you would have got the right guidance, maybe like if not your parents, if a mentor or somebody, you would have got the right direction?
Definitely, Fatah. Definitely, if there was a right guidance or a right mentor, things would have been different. And because you need a outside perspective. What happens is, and what happened with me also, my world was so limited. My world was my family, my extended family, my relatives, and a few friends. That was the
Hmm.
world. And because your world is so small, it is not that they were wrong or they were right. It is not about wrong or right, but the opinions are all biased when you have
Right.
very less people around you. And having a mentor brings a outside in perspective. A mentor doesn't advise you based on your weaknesses or your strength. They give you a realistic perspective, the world picture,
Right.
and which will help you explore your real potential. So I would say having guidance, having a mentor at the right time or not at the right time, you need someone all the time. You should have someone to bring in a outside in perspective always in your life.
Very true. I agree. Like it's not like one time or it's not like for 6 months, 1 year. You need to have somebody who can guide you, coach you, who can mentor you, so that you start walking on the right path and continue being on that right path. Now, one thing that I can see right from the beginning of your journey, even if even before you started on your career track, is you were mentally very tough. Like, how did you get this toughness from? Where did you get this toughness from? And what helped you to keep moving forward, irrespective of the circumstances that you had in life?
So I did not practice it, I did not learn it. But the only thing I knew was you should never quit. Okay, it is an end only if you think it is an end. So stop thinking short term. The moment you keep thinking short term gains, then your mental stability goes down. Because
Hmm.
with short term goals, there is a high probability of short term failures also. If you do not have a long term goal, then you will always either consider yourself a successful person or a failure, because you measure at every milestone, you measure yourself, you judge yourself at every milestone achieved or every milestone not achieved. So
Hmm.
one thing which I would say which will make you mentally tough is have a longer vision, have a longer goal, so that you know what is your end, how far is it, and you still have to reach there. Do not start judging yourself at each and every step in your life,
Yeah.
because most of your journey is not controlled by you. There are many external parameters which will impact, and at different times the impact will be different. So
Right.
stop judging yourself with every result and have a clear, as far as possible, have some clarity, a longer term clarity in your mind.
Right. Makes sense. And you've said about long term, have a long term vision. And I'm sure, like, at that point of time, 11 years of age, when you went through this challenge, you had at least that long term vision. Ke, haan, I have to prove myself. I have to like get success in the career in terms of at least the education and all of that. And you are able to focus on that goal and keep moving forward. Good.
Yes, Pata. Yes, Pata. That was like I cannot quit. At that time, goal would not be the right word. I would let me confess. It was not about goal, but it was about not quitting. You should not quit. So that was the, I mean, a funda that I had.
Great, great. It takes a lot of courage to go from that there and then become whatever you are today, because I know you are already successful in terms of your career, whatever you are and wherever you are. And you also wrote this book couple of years back. It's been, I think, around 2 years, close to 2 years now, about how can somebody go from campus to corporate and beyond. Right. So, what inspired you to write this book?
So, uh, in in uh, in my job, for a first few years, for the first 10 years, I was into sales and marketing. And as I mentioned, it was because of my certificates. I took that. I was enjoying it. I was enjoying. But when I took a change in profile, I mentioned that there was always an uncertainty about my journey. Where am I heading towards? What will happen tomorrow? That was always a question. And I realized that this is not the only thing which I should be doing. That is, my job is not the only thing I should be doing. My journey, I should share my journey with others who are yet to travel the same journey.
Hmm.
And there I started talking to students. I started and I started engaging with a lot of students. And when I started engaging with them, I realized their mindset is still the same which I had when I was a student. So just imagine, the world is disrupting, the world is changing, but still the system, the thought process is not changing. I decided that I will start influencing the journeys of students. And I started a mission called Mission 10 Million,
Wow.
which aims at transforming the journeys of 10 million students. I want to make it different, faster, and smoother. I don't want them to face the same challenges and make the same mistakes that I have made in my journey. They will have challenges, but at least they will not repeat the same mistakes. And it was with this mission I wanted to increase my reach to more and more students. And hence I wrote the book, which is about the transition from campus to the corporate. And in this book, I have also covered what beyond the corporate. So how to handle your corporate journey also.
Hmm.
So that is what the book is all about. And just to
Amazing.
share, because we took this topic of Mission 10 million, uh, a good news from my end. It was just today that I got a award from the Indian Achievers Forum for all the good work that I have done for Mission 10 million.
Wow, that's amazing. And congratulations to you. And very inspiring. This is really inspiring, Purav. The journey that you started at that young age, losing your parents, right? And many of them get into victim mindset where they say circumstances, situations are not helping me. But you actually growing from there, having like the right focus in your life. First of all, you learning, you getting educated, you getting to a place where you are good in your career, becoming successful there, and then you say that I want to impact lives of so many students. You go there out in the student world, you impact people, and today you are already awarded with something from the Indian, what is this, Indian Achievers Forum.
Yes.
Amazing, amazing. Very inspiring journey. Very inspiring journey, Purav. And what do you have to say for people who have this victim mindset? Like situations happen, and then they are like, "Oh, I can't do it," right? And this cannot happen from me because situations are more powerful than me. And whatever I try to do, I'm still not able to get success, be it in career or in life. How do you suggest? What do you suggest for these people?
Okay, so for that, the first thing is when you look at your own journey, or when I look at my journey, and when I look at the world, there are people who are in worse condition than I am. Okay,
Absolutely.
so
Yeah.
please try to understand and accept this fact that you are in a much better position than many others. Okay, so stop blaming the circumstances, stop blaming the situations. Many people who are not in, or I would say who are in bad situations than you are in, are moving forward. It is all about your attitude. The second thing which I would say is, let's start blaming the circumstances. Let's say because of this I am not able to do this what I want. Who is the sufferer? Who is the loser? At the end of the day,
Obviously.
you
Yeah.
are the loser.
Right.
So you take a call whether you have to keep blaming and continue losing, making excuses. At the end you are losing, or start accepting and act, proact, or start react, not stop reacting, but behave in a proactive manner, that in future how can these things be avoided? How can I create my own circumstances? To a large extent we can control. I'm not saying we can 100% we can control it, but to a large extent we can control the circumstances. And even if then something happens, we should be prepared to come out of it as fast as possible and continue the journey. So stop blaming the circumstances. You are the loser.
This is very powerful, Purav. This is really powerful. The things that you have spoken about attitude and getting started with in terms of acceptance and then being prepared because circumstances will come in everyone's life. But how do you see the circumstances? How prepared you are, and how do you look at things from your point of view? And then how do you actually, rather than react, take the appropriate actions? Very well said here. And again, on the same lines, people, when they lose jobs, right? Many of them, they think this is the end of my life, right? This is where like I'm not growing. And again, some of them get into the blaming mindset. I remember I was one of those in the initial career. I lost my first job within like less than 2 months, and I didn't have anything to say. I could not accept my own failure, and I said company was bad, there was a lot of politics, trainer was bad. How can somebody like be so bad in less than 2 months, right? And I was trying to escape from the situation and telling myself that blaming it on somebody else. Now what do you have to say when people lose job, when people don't get their hike, their salary and all of this, salary hike or bonus? How should they work on themselves?
So as you rightly said, Fatah, my first recommendation is, don't look outside, look
Hmm.
inside, look within. We
Hmm.
have a habit. We have a habit of comparing. We have a habit of blaming others, and we also have a habit of waiting till the last moment to take an action.
Right.
Most of the times, we know what is coming. We know what is happening, but still we are ignoring. And this is happening with many people. I have been discussing this for last 2 years. What is the problem? They know the problem, and then I ask, okay, what are you doing for it? I'm waiting. I'm waiting. So what I would recommend, and very strongly recommend for people, see, the first thing is, if you lost the job, fine. This was the first lessons learned. Now, rather than blaming, start working on yourself in terms of how to upskill yourself. Start finding the reason what went wrong and take it as lessons learned for yourself. And once you start upskilling, and when you start upskilling, don't look at the small world around you, your family, your friends, your colleagues. Make it a bigger world. Look at the entire picture. What is happening in the industry? What skills are required, or which are the skills in demand? What are my existing skills? So start developing those skills with the hope that you will get into a job. There are many other things, Fatah, about how to take your next step, or if you are not having a job, how to get into a job. That can be discussed offline. And I know, Fatah, you are a great coach and a mentor, and who else then you can advise on this. But as soon as you get into your next step, as soon as you get a new job, please start preparing for your next step. That is where I say, please be proactive. Don't be reactive again. Learn from what has gone wrong in the past.
Right. I think this is great, and I see a lot of people are appreciating your thought process and whatever you are sharing here. Suresh, Adiga, Maulik, Milin, and others. Thank you for sharing your comments and appreciating whatever Purav is doing here. I think this is really going good in a very right direction, Purav. Thanks for this. And now you were talking about upskilling, and one challenge that since you are into careers and I'm into careers, right? And you must have also seen this. A lot of people, when it comes to upskilling, they are almost like 100% dependent on companies, and they want everything from the company. And you talk about take charge of your career. So when you say take charge of your career, is it like depend on the companies and then go through the trainings, go to your bosses, go to your HRs and see what are they providing, and then just do that? Or what is it when you say take charge of your career?
Fatah, this is extremely, I mean, this is touching me, touching my heart. What happens is, we do get the training from the companies, and those are perfect, those are good. Okay, now if you are doing what your company is offering, please learn to accept what your company is giving
Hmm.
at the end of the year. What happens is, we expect something much more. Our expectations are very high, but we
Right.
accept what they are offering to us in terms of trainings. Please remember, the organization has their own goals, and they are molding you to achieve their goals. And they are perfect, they are right. You are employers. Now, if you are getting molded to meet their goals, then you should accept only what they give you. You should expect what they give in return. When it comes to taking charge of your journey, trust me, the company is doing right. Continue what they are offering. But what additional value add are you doing to yourself for your growth? That is where you need to be very conscious in upskilling yourself with respect to what is going on outside the organization as well, and start gaining those skills. As you start gaining those skills, it will help you in two aspects. You will start adding more value to your existing role, to your existing company with your more skills, and that will
Hmm.
accelerate your growth within the organization.
Right.
In worst case scenario, if something wrong happens with your existing job, you are prepared for your next step already. So I would just say, if you keep doing what you have been doing, don't expect a different result.
Perfect. I think that makes a lot of sense. And when you were talking about when companies give trainings, accept it and continue with that. Now I remember when we had a discussion about your career, you also mentioned about how you were sponsored on an MBA, executive MBA from your one of your companies, and you also had done your own MBA. Now a lot of people, for them growth is, there are only two ways for growth, right? One is either do an advanced degree like an MBA or an MTech or an MS, right? Or do certifications. Now if you have to be honest, Purav, like did these MBAs help you, or what helped you in your career?
I would say, Fatah, MBA did help me to start.
Hmm.
Okay. Certificates are necessary as we do the mathematics theorems, necessary and sufficient condition.
Hmm.
So certificates are necessary, but certificates are not sufficient. That is what I would say.
Hmm.
The crowd is getting certificates because they are available. Trust me, certificates are available for free. Certificates, even if they are paid, it is possible for everybody to get it.
Right.
So the crowd is getting certificates. Now you decide whether you want to stay with the crowd or you want to be different. People say, and we have been programmed to understand, staying with the crowd is safe. सब साथ में
Right.
रहो. कॉलेज में
Right.
सीधा सीधा पढ़ाई कर लो, डिस्टिंक्शन लेके आओ, जॉब ले लो, फिर जो भी करना है वो कर लेना. नाउ यू टेम अ लायन, उसको दूध दूध पिलाया और फिर जैसे वो बड़ा हो गया उसको जंगल में छोड़ दिया, जाओ शिकार करो. इट विल नॉट डू दैट. सो staying with the crowd is always easy, but assuming that with the crowd I am safe, don't make that mistake, because with the crowd everybody has the same target,
Hmm.
and hence you achieving your target, the chances are very less.
Right.
So get more certificates, stay with the crowd and keep running the race, or do something different.
Very, very well said here. Or do something different. In terms of when you say do something different, it's if you have to achieve bigger goals in life, then you have to go beyond whatever the regular processes, right? Invest in yourself and learn. Now, one thing here, which is a common disease, I could say, is comparison in the corporate world. A lot of people get stuck wherever they are because they start seeing at their colleagues, they start seeing at their friends who are growing in their careers, and ultimately they don't grow. And if I have to sincerely talk about myself here, at one point of time, Purav, I was also doing that, right? And I have to confess that it was like almost an year long process where I was like looking at others profiles in LinkedIn, and I was like, oh, this girl has become HR manager, this guy has become director, this guy has become that, and what am I doing with my life? And that did not help me at all, Purav, in terms of my growth. Now I see a lot of people also falling in that category many a times where they are into comparison. uh, what do you suggest for people, like how can they continue to focus on the right direction or focus on themselves?
So that what happens is, when we compare, we are underestimating ourselves, because when we compare, we set our benchmarks with respect to someone else,
Hmm.
and we have been taught to do this since childhood. We have been programmed, and there is no upgrade available, unfortunately. ना मोबाइल का तो क्या है, रात को मैसेज आता है सॉफ्टवेयर अपडेट अवेलेबल, एंड वी हैव टू क्लिक अ बटन
Right.
एंड इट अपग्रेड्स. नाउ इसका अपग्रेड कहीं है नहीं, ऑटो अपग्रेड नहीं है. When you compare yourself with someone who is ahead of you, तुम्हारे दिमाग में क्या होता है कि वहां तक पहुंचना है, एटलीस्ट उधर तो पहुंचना है. Ask yourself, do you deserve something more? You actually deserve something more or something different. Unfortunately, जब हम कंपैरिजन करते हैं, we are narrowing down our opportunities,
Right.
and we start copying the same efforts to reach the same level. We do not do anything different. हम वही करते हैं, और जब हम वही करते हैं तो फिर से द थियरी अप्लाइज, यू आर पार्ट ऑफ द क्राउड, द प्रोबेबिलिटी ऑफ यू अचीविंग द सेम थिंग is very less. You are your competition. Compare yourself with yourself. Where were you yesterday and where are you today? Start increasing your levels, and trust me, you will achieve more heights with less useless stress of comparison.
Very well said. Less useless stress. I think that's a very important point to note here. Yeah. Good. I would completely agree because I think that was one of the biggest mistake I was also doing at one point of time in my career. And when I started realizing that I was focusing on the wrong thing, that's not my goal. Like my goals were different, my aims were different, and once I realized that, I think I could walk on my path rather than walking on somebody else's path. Interesting. This conversation is really going interesting. Now, as we walk on the path in the career, we reach a certain stage, which is known as mid-career, right? And very popularly, we talk about this concept called as mid-career crisis. People become stagnant there. They don't know what to do next. They don't know how to do it, right? And they feel very frustrated, stressed out. They don't have any direction. Now, how do you recommend people to come out of this crisis, and what can they do to improve and then grow in their careers?
So the first thing for the, and again let me repeat, the programming that has been done to us is one of the biggest barrier which is creating this crisis. We have been programmed to take a secure job, and fortunately or unfortunately what happens is in the initial years of your job you continue growing organically, and there is also a reason behind. You accept the salary levels that you are getting as a fresher. You do not have the right to demand. Why we do not have the right to demand? Because जॉब को हमने इतना बड़ा बना दिया है ना यार, एक मिल जाए तो भी बहुत है, एक बार घुस जाना है, and hence you accept whatever you get or whatever the organization offers. Now, because this is reasonably low, your initial growth continues to happen. But by the time you reach a particular level, let's say after 10 or 12 or 15 years in the journey, then the real challenge starts, because you have been following the same path which others are following. You have been competing with the same kind of people, and usually you have grown organically. After some time, there is a lack of position in the organization itself, and as a result, there is increased competition.
Right.
To avoid this crisis, you have to just start thinking different. Nobody is programmed to take risks. Start taking calculated risks in your career. Start thinking different. Start upskilling yourself. Stop competing with others. And do not limit yourself or your opportunities because of your certificates. I have seen people who even after 15 years, after 15 years of work X, they still carry their certificates with them. मैं तो इंजीनियर हूं, मैं तो यही काम कर सकता हूं. The world is changing, and those documents are static. They are not changing. They are not adding any value with years. So please, they are necessary, but they are not sufficient. So पहले अपने दिमाग से ये निकालो कि I am highly qualified, nobody can stop me. Before you reach the mid, I would not say crisis, but the mid-career, start adding value, start upskilling yourself for the world. Only then you can avoid this crisis. Stop comparison. Start looking outside beyond your industry, beyond your job role. Your experience does not define your past, doesn't define your future. You define your future.
Right. Agreed here. And on the same lines, when we were talking on this, it took me back to one of the place where I was in my career, working for one of the top organizations in the world. And I was seeing like a lot of people with 15, 20 years of experience working on the same things were asked to leave. Right now, a lot of people get stuck with being in that comfort zone, not ready to take risk, not ready to upgrade. Now, what do you have to recommend here? Like, how can somebody like come out of the comfort zone, right, and take actions so that it can help them in their careers in life?
This is a very difficult question because people don't know they are in the comfort zone.
Right.
The first thing is the realization that you are in a comfort zone. When I tell people that you are in a comfort zone, क्या बात करता है पूरा रोज 12-12 14-14 घंटे तो काम करते हैं.
Right.
हमारे ये तो comfort zone है. This is the comfort zone. You have been programmed to work hard. So for people, I would say first understand that working for 14 hours or achieving your targets every year doesn't mean that you are stretching yourself.
Right, right. And I want to add one thing here, Purav, is you rightly mentioned people don't realize that they are in comfort zone because I've heard from people who are like 6 years, 7 years, 8 years, 10 years in a company working on same roles. They are like, I'm working hard for 12 hours, 18 hours. Now I have become a team lead, I have become a manager. But think about it, what are you doing differently? Right? That is comfort zone. Like you are stuck there because you are not ready to take any risk in life. And when you don't take risk in life, how can that exponential growth happen? Right? And people
Right.
believe that they will grow exponentially by staying in that zone and not even realizing that's the comfort zone. Please go ahead, Purav.
So
I just
and
wanted to add that.
no, no, I will also share my experience here. As I said, with the certificate of sales and marketing, I continued my sales journey for first 10 years in the organization. I was growing.
Mm.
Okay, I was achieving. Let me also tell you, I was a good salesman. I was one of the best salesmen in my company. How come that is possible? I did it for 10 long years.
Right.
I did it for 10 years. I have to be part of the top performers. And the change in my profile came as a compulsion. I got a call from the top, from the management, that there is a role for a strategy head of strategy. And you have been nominated. Would you like to take it? At this point, my head of sales, he was a very good friend of mine, also very senior to me, so like a father figure. So I went to him and said, "Sir, this has come. What shall I do?" Then go ahead. And he had been in sales for 30 years.
Mm.
But then what he told me, see, Purav, this has come from the top. If you say no, this might have an impact. So वो डर पैदा किया था. It was a fear that was in my mind. But I took the strategy role because of the fear.
Mm.
And for the first year, every day morning, I used to wake up without knowing what I have to do. Because strategy, and this took me a lot of time to understand. Strategy is something you have to keep reading. You have to keep reading news, looking at the news, what is happening in the world. I said, यार sales target किधर है? Where are the targets? किसको offer देना है? And there I realized I was in the comfort zone. And now I don't even know what am I supposed to do. But I have to do.
Right.
So and this was the reality. When people don't change roles thinking that they are working hard, They never know what might come next and when they have to perform. So
Right.
one thing I would like to share with all the people, all those professionals, again the programming, growth is not always vertical.
Hmm.
Growth is not always vertical from an executive to a senior executive to a manager to a senior manager. No. Remember how our houses are built. The mega structures, how they are built, they grow horizontally first. The foundation has to become stronger. So even a horizontal move is growth. In fact, a horizontal move is better
Hmm.
because the vertical growth is a byproduct of your horizontal growth. And it makes your vertical move stronger. So start growing horizontally.
Amazing, amazing. I think this is very good here that you are talking about the horizontal growth, which many people don't talk about. And I think one of the challenge again in the industry is a lot of people think like if I'm growing this way, that's the only growth path, right? And in this one challenge that I've seen, Purav, is people are not ready to give away. I remember there was a time when I was comfortable earning good, just like you did in sales, right? But for me, it came by choice, right? I wanted to make that choice that I don't want to like grow like this. I want to maybe like step out of my comfort zone, do something different. And for that, Purab, I took a hit in my salary, which was very risky for me. And I remember like I moved to a different company in a different role and I was earning less than that. So a lot of people don't get ready to do this, right? So I think you have touched base a very important point about horizontal growth. And how do you think this helps in the longer run when people are like able to give up certain things for the short term and look at the horizontal and the foundation to make it very strong? Has that helped you, first of all?
Definitely that has actually helped me a lot. I did strategy. When I was in the strategy role, as I said, I never knew what I'm supposed to do for a very long time. And that started the creative thought process. Pata, what else can I do? I was in a reactive mode. I knew what am I supposed to do and I was running after it. तो और कुछ सोचने की जरूरत नहीं है, दौड़ते रहो, बस दौड़ते रहो, काम हो रहा है. But when you are in a mode where you don't know what you have to do, so that then your thought process starts. Okay, what can I do? पहले तो ऐसा था कि this is what I have to do. So I had, though it is called clarity, but it was the process, the structure, how it was made, and you forget actually utilizing your mind to the fullest with new ideas. So when you come into, when you change your roles, when you change your profiles, how does it help you is you become less vulnerable to circumstances. If you look at the pandemic, which has hit worse to many people, and I was talking to one of my mentees yesterday, because I am an engineer, मेरे पास opportunities कम है. अगर मैं पढ़ा नहीं होता, if I am not qualified, I can do everything. कुछ भी दे दो मैं करूंगा. So you become less vulnerable to the circumstances, and hence horizontal growth is necessary. It helps you in the long term. ऐसा नहीं है हर बार pandemic आएगा, but you become more confident. You become less dependent on people. If I'm an executive sales executive, if I'm a senior sales executive, if I'm a senior sales manager, if I'm a chief manager of sales, my high dependence is on the head of marketing and sales. But if I am sales, if I'm strategy, if I'm business development, if I'm digital, if I'm project management, I have many people to look up to. कोई तो उठा लेगा. So you become less vulnerable to external world.
Hmm. But one thing is there is a lot of risk in that, right, Purav? When you are actually switching between different domains, or you taking a cut in your salary, or you not growing vertical and horizontal. Now, do you think it's good for people to take risk in their careers, especially when in mid careers you are already 15 plus years, you have a family to take care of?
You have got two options, Pata. And as I said, risk is more where you are today. We are just assuming मैं risk ले रहा हूँ कि नहीं ले रहा. You are already in a risky situation. And I will also give an example. People in their 50s earning a huge salary. If they are in the same function for 50 long years, trust me, a person with less than half the experience as you have can do the same thing as you are doing.
Yeah, but they call it safe zone, right? A lot of people call it as safe zone. I'm safe here. I'm safe here because
So that
it is my company. I've been here for 10 years. It is my people. It is my teams, right? So how do they come out of this, right? And why do they have to take a risk here?
to be less vulnerable, to be, as I said, when I say risk, it has to be a calculated risk. You said you took a cut in your salary. That is a huge risk, but that was calculated. You were conscious why you are doing it.
Yeah.
Now, if not now, then when? And let me talk of a specific domain. And you know it, Fatah, you come from the IT domain. The salaries, the increments in IT domain are humongous as compared to other domains. But I have seen in the last 1 month, I have met people with 20 years of experience in the IT domain, technical experts, and now they are stagnant because freshers can do the same work that they are doing at a salary which is much less. Remember, your organization, and people always say, don't love your company, don't get emotionally attached, because they have a purpose, they have a goal, they are profit making organizations. So please understand, you have to take calculated risks. If not now, then when? How long will you continue in the same risk zone? It is not a safe zone. You are part of the crowd. Everybody is trying to take a piece from the same cake. कंपनी का बजट इतना है, उसमें से मुझे कितना इंक्रीमेंट खींचना है.
Very good analogy here. Yeah. I love that. Everybody is trying to get that piece from the same cake. I think it's very well said, and I think people can relate to it as well. Ishwar says I can relate to it, and I can also relate to that. Now, one thing, Purav, is you mentioned that you had a mentee who is on the technology front, expertise, but still he was not able to grow. So a lot of people, especially in the IT field or be it in any field, they are like technical, right? They go this way, right? And do you think this is like going to help them in the long run, or what are the other things that they need to focus on if they have to grow in their careers?
So the one most important thing which has become all the more important is start networking. Be a technical expert. You are a technical expert. It is good to be a technical expert. Go deep into it. It is necessary. It is a risk, because what if that technology goes obsolete? So what I would suggest, if you still want to be the technical expert, start creating a network of experts with other skills. Start developing your network so that you know 10 more people who have different skills than what you have. This means that now you have access to 10 more skills.
Right.
Maybe you are not an expert, but you can pull in people who can help you get your work done. And this is one way of having more skills with you.
I think this is very good. What you mentioned here, it's good to go deep in the technology, but you staying stuck within the technology, because today there is a lot of technology disruption, right? We see that technology can change anytime. Earlier it was on-prem. Today it's moved to cloud. tomorrow it can be something else, right? So there were big routers, servers. Today we don't see that at all, because it's all become like, okay, fine, you pay for the service and get that. So I think it's a huge risk, and I have also seen in my own career a lot of people staying stuck there, and then later realize that technology has changed. Now they can't do anything. Very good pointers you have shared here, Purav. And you have been talking throughout this conversation on one thing, saying that we have been programmed this way, programmed. So when you say programmed this way, what is this programming? I know you are referring to the mind here, and how important is this mindset and reprogramming ourselves? Does only acquiring skills will not help us in this particular corporate world or in our careers?
No, Fatah, that will not help us. Just acquiring skills will not help, because the programming is done in the mind.
Hmm.
We have to change the mindset. And whenever I start my conversation with my mentees, I always share the story of the baby elephant who was tied with a thin rope when it was a baby. As it grew up, as a baby, it tried to break the rope, but it could never break the rope. And the elephant understood, ये चीज जो मुझे बांध के रखा है, मैं तोड़ नहीं सकता. When it
Hmm.
grew up, it did not try to break it. Now, we all are told since childhood, भाई तुम इतना ही कर सकते हो, और वो भी हमारे दिमाग में भरा हुआ है. अब
Right.
तुम कितना भी स्किल्स ले लो, बट जब तक इधर चेंज नहीं होगा, जब तक ये मेंटल बैरियर्स, और ये व्हाई आर दिस मोर डेंजरस, बिकॉज दिस आर इनविजिबल. तुम्हें दिखता नहीं है कुछ बैरियर है, बट बैरियर है. Unless you break these barriers, the skills will help you survive. With skills, you will survive the race. But if you break this, you will grow exponentially.
Wow. I love this. I love this, whatever you have shared here today. And I remember our conversation, Purav, when we were talking about mindset. Me and you come from the same field. Like, you help mid career professionals, I help mid career professionals. We are doing the same thing. But we see a lot of things, especially in the corporate industry. People are like competition, right? Comparison. Now, do you think when we actually collaborate in this particular era, it will help us more in terms of like adding more value, maybe growing more faster? What is your thought process? I know you discussed with me when we were talking about it, but I want you to talk about it so that people can also understand how does that help in terms of reprogramming.
Okay, so a very simple example. Okay, let me show. So this is a smartphone, right? We call it is a smartphone, and then I have a smart watch. I have a smart TV. Why we call these things smart? Because they can connect. They are open to connect, and as soon as they connect, they start sharing features. If I connect my watch with my phone, I can control my phone with my watch. If I connect my phone with my TV, I can operate my smart TV with my smartphone. A
Right.
TV is not built to be controlled by a phone, but the connectivity, the feature to connect allows it to do so. As soon as they connect, they start sharing their features. And hence, we call them smart. So now you decide whether you want to become smart by connecting, sharing, and collaborating, or do you want to still remain the way you are? Competition. मैं नहीं बताऊंगा, मुझे पता है, the knowledge I have, I not share. सबको पता चल जाएगा मेरा क्या होगा. So this is the simplest way to explain. Become smart like the devices. Start connecting, start sharing your skills. The world is disrupting. बाबा तुम सब skills नहीं सीख सकते. लोगों को इकट्ठा करो, जिसके पास skills हो उनको अपना skills दो, उनसे उनका skills लो. That is how you can grow fast.
Amazing, the things whatever you have shared, and the simple examples that you have been using about how devices connect with each other. I think very good example here for people to understand, because I'm also a very strong believer of what you say, Purav. It's not competition that is going to help you. Share your knowledge, go out and collaborate. What you have, give it to others, add value in others life and get it from others, so that you can grow, others can grow. And when you have that abundance mindset, now me and Purav are in mid career coaching. Like when Purav comes on my show, he adds a lot of value and people learn from there. When I collaborate with him, we add a lot of value together. Individually, I might have been a little stronger, but together we become more stronger and we add value in the marketplace and we get our own share of results and success. So, very good examples, Purav. Thank you for being on the show and sharing some great insights here, which have been very helpful to people. And I think a lot of people here who have been watching us live and then sharing their thoughts, commenting. Suresh Adiga, Maulik, Milin, Ishwar Rao, Shraddha, right, and others as well who have been like watching, Imran and others. Thank you for watching us and sharing your thought process and comments. And for others who are going to watch us later on recording, I'm sure they are going to love this conversation, Purav. So thank you. And if you have any last piece of thought process or advice you want to give it to the audience, you are open for it.
For that, the only thing which I would say and which I promote, guys, take charge of your career. Be creator of circumstances. You have the power, and we are not here to study, make money, plan for retirement, and then die. This is not what we are here for. Okay? Make the best use of the one life that you have.
Great,
That's
amazing, Purav. I can call you as powerful Purav now, because the kind of powerful insights that you have shared, I'm sure like it has added a lot of value. So thank you for that again, and thanks everyone for watching us live and people who are going to watch us on recording. Thank you for staying connected, watching us, and yes, you are going to get more people who have similar thought process, experts in their own domains, in their industries, coming and going to share a lot of knowledge with you, their thought process, their knowledge, their experiences, their failures and success, so that it can help you to become successful and it can help you to build your dream careers. So stay tuned until the next one, and stay safe, stay blessed. Good night. Thanks, Purav, once again,
good,
and
everyone.
thanks everybody.
Thanks for that.
Thank you.